The world is full of economic reports at present. Not many of them sound very good. In Yah's economy, it's a completely different understanding. Things that go up are not as valuable as those that go down. To live, we die. To gain, we lose. How does Yah's economy even work? Hi, this is Barry Phillips, intimidated toward day one of Vayikra, and he called, more commonly understood as Leviticus. Now, there's you an interesting term, all about the Levites. This is the book where, as we begin in chapter 1 today, this is where the wheels fall off of the Read the Bible Through in a Year program. You've done well to get through the very intricate details of the building of the Mishkan or the tabernacle, and you've actually read all of those details twice, first as they were given at Mount Sinai to Moshe, and then again as he relates them to Israel. But now we come to all of the intricate details, one might even say exhaustive details of Vayikra or Leviticus. So let's begin, because this is an exciting book. In Vayikra, chapter 1, verse 1, and Yahweh called to Moshe and spoke to him from the tent of appointment, saying, Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when any one of you brings an offering to Yahweh, you bring your offerings of the livestock, of the herd, or of the flock. If his offering is an ascending offering of the herd, let him bring a male, a perfect one. Let him bring it to the door of the tent of appointment for his acceptance before Yahweh. The way this particular Torah portion is laid out through 5 chapters. Each chapter deals with a specific offering. Today, we deal with the first one called the Olah. If you're not familiar and you want to transliterate O-L-A-H, Olah. This offering in particular is a very foundational offering. It is used in conjunction with other acts of worship and presentations at this altar later on. It has the connotation of an elevation offering. It is also known as the whole offering because the whole animal, all of it, is consumed on the altar, and there's no residual portion for the priest or for the one who presents it. It's also known as an ascension offering, the idea of elevation. And further, it is known as the burnt offering. All of these are synonymous terms for the exact same presentation here. And that is that a perfect male animal is brought either from the flock or the herd, and you bring it and it is presented to go completely to Yah. The understanding is that as the smoke of the burning goes up from the altar and ascends into the heavens, so then does the soul of the individual experience a raising up or an elevation. One's being is lifted higher. Now, why would one do this? Why would you bring an animal and there's nothing to benefit from it as far as a return to yourself? Or even that you would say, well, at least a priest gets to eat a portion. It is a desire to draw closer to Yah. Matter of fact, what we translate as offering or sacrifice most often comes from the Hebrew word korban, K-O-R-B-A-N, korban. And a korban is rooted in a word that is to draw near. So the offering or the sacrifice, a sacrifice is not something you give and, well, I just lost it all. Or an offering, well, I'm going to take of my overflow and give a little bit. Neither one of those ideas fully comprehend or fully give us an exact representation of what's going on. To present an animal and put it on the altar is to express a desire. I want to draw near to the Most High. I want to be found with him. And so it is this giving of ourselves that it enables us to be raised up, elevated, to ascend, that we might find a closer place in the Most High. And it represents the idea of this. We are to give our complete self to him in order to be filled with him. That part that you hold in reserve of yourself is that part that does not belong to him and is not filled with him. So I'm going to give him 75% of myself. And there is an expectation, well, I will be filled to the point of 75%. Why would we do that? Why would we hold any portion of ourselves in reserve and say, you can have all of me except for? The more we think about that, the more we might want to think about that and challenge that mindset. It reminds me of the words of Yochanan the Immerser, John the Baptist, how that he said concerning himself and Yeshua. Yochanan, we fail to appreciate oftentimes how popular he was, how impacting he was in that day. He said of himself, I must decrease so that he may increase. He knew that he had a role to play. He played that role. He did his part. And then he said, now it's time for me to step back into the shadows and to fade away so that he may have the whole stage. In other words, Yochanan was saying, I've come to introduce him to you, but he's the main act. Yeshua said this in Yochanan, or John chapter 12, and we will begin with verse 24, which says, truly, truly, I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. He who loves his life shall lose it, and he who hates his life in this world shall preserve it for everlasting life. That's kind of where I was opening up at the very beginning here. If anyone serves me, let him follow me, and where I am, there my servant also shall be. If anyone serves me, the Father shall value him. And now notice verse 27. Now I myself am troubled, and what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour. But for this reason I came to this hour. Yeshua was alluding to his approaching death on the execution stake in our behalf. He himself then was given 100%. Yeshua withheld nothing for himself. He didn't merely swoon or faint or pass out on the tree. He died. He gave the complete giving of himself to the point where he said, it is finished. It's completed. It's done. So we understand here that Yeshua is setting the scene for us, or setting the model, the way to do things for us. And he is saying to us, give yourself. And it is for this reason that you're put on this earth. Our purpose in life is not to live life for us and for ourselves. It is to give ourselves to him and let him live his life through us. But there is this human drive in us that says, I want to achieve, I want to be successful, I want to grow, I want to have impact, I want to do something. Let me give you a word of encouragement from 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 6, a verse I learned as a teenager and held on to this point. Humble yourselves then under the mighty hand of Elohim, so that he exalts you in due time. There's a pedestal. You put yourself on that pedestal like King of the Mountain that we used to play as kids with a football. You will get tackled and knocked off. But if Yah puts you up, if he raises you up, then it is for his purposes and for his times, and you're much more secure. Do it his way. Give yourself as an olah. and be closer to the Most High. And we'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, shalom.